Welcome to Focus. Voices leading change.
Kia ora, Shay.
Kia ora.
It's great to have you in here for our Get to Know podcast. I want to start by just talking about our admiration for your impact on us in such a short period of time. I think we came in, you went on maternity leave, came back in, and in that period of time you've had quite an impact with me personally, because you sit and listen to my rants or entertain my thoughts, but also in one real pivotal meeting with Courtney in that space when we did that review, you had a real major impact on Courtney as well. So we're both very excited to get you in this space.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I feel so honoured to be here. Really valued, heard, and seen.
Yeah, cool. So what I always like to hear about is just people's journeys, and I think it's quite cool because there's a connection there with Rosie.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk to that? Because she actually spoke about it the other day.
Oh wow. So it was only for a short time. I had moved over to Papamoa to live with my extended whānau, so like my auntie, my uncle, and my grandparents and their children. And my auntie worked at the previous centre I worked at as a full-timer, and Rosie was there also. So I first met Rose when she was in the overs space, I think, and I just was a reliever at the time. So I think only a handful of days I got to work with Rose, but she was one of those people that, you'd look at her and go, yeah, I'll see you later, and to see her at the last Future Focus staff get-together was, like, hey, you're back. And, just that reciprocal relationship we still had.
I think why I bring it up is because I've just discussed in such a short period of time you've had a major impact on us, and obviously she said it wasn't a big extended period of time, but you obviously had a major impact on her as well, and because you weren't at the time, were you qualified?
No.
Were you studying, or what were you doing there?
I sort of was just testing the waters. I had left a retail manager role and sort of just was looking for something else, so I just jumped straight in, no questions, just jumped into the ECS space as a reliever, and pretty much became full-time in the under space there and dove into my degree.
Cool, fantastic. So again, I just want to reiterate, I think some of that stuff is just your impact in such short periods of time excites us, because imagine a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about your whānau, your immediate whānau as of today. Who's in your immediate whānau?
Immediate whānau to me today looks like my 3 daughters. So I have Ada, who's 4, Athena, who's 2, and our baby girl, Alethea, who is 8.5 months, and hubby. So that's who we've got as our foundation. And then we've got hubby's whānau who live in the Bay, and also my auntie and uncle who live in the Bay as well. So whānau support around us. Yeah.
And where do you whakapapa back to?
So we both grew up in Hamilton.
In the Tron?
In the Tron. So I was raised in Dinsdale, attended primary school, Mairoa Intermediate.
Yep.
And also Hamilton Girls High School. And lived
there. So what year did you go Mairoa?
Mairoa, must have been 2007 and 2008.
Right. No, I just missed you. I was there 3.
Oh, yeah.
3. Who? Deirdre, what's her name, was principal, was she? Was Andy, Tony Gray, was he there? No, it must have been a bit past there, yeah. Oh,
Mrs. Bain, I think, was
Mrs. Bain, yes, Mrs. Bain, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, right. So you grew up there. So what was your primary school?
Frankton.
Oh, Frankton.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think each, schooling space had teachers that impacted me. I still think of them today.
Well, let's head that way. So who are some of those heroes?
Definitely the teacher I had at Mairoa Intermediate, who was Matua Painga, left a really positive impact on me having a male teacher. Yeah, and I think maybe what I hold about male teachers today in ECE has stemmed from that. He was so great in terms of, coming down to our level, giving us challenges and knowing our potential.
Mairoa is actually a fantastic school.
Yeah.
I think people would just tie Mairoa in terms of a location as to, but it's like my time at Manurewa Intermediate, which was a decile 1A. Mairoa was in the same boat. There was just amazing teachers there, lots of opportunities for children, huge amount of opportunity.
Yeah.
And there was just constant levels of support there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can only imagine as a kid, because I know when I was involved, because Rob Bigby, was he there?
Yep, he was there.
So he was my AT.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I took Rob's class because he got sick, and he's actually passed away. But he got sick, and I took his. That's where I took his class for the last term, and that Mairoa Intermediate setup was just fantastic. It was good flow in that school.
Yes. Were you part of, how they have like the house groups?
Yes.
Were you part of?
Yes, I was. I can't remember.
We were a part of, at the time, Pohutukawa. So we had room 1, 2 and 3, and Mr. Bigby was room 1.
Yes, I was in room 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I must have been Pohutukawa, yeah. Yeah, I was in room 1. But it's going back to Matua Painga. What were some of those pieces that... Do you see some of those pieces in you as an educator?
I feel like reflecting back, like leadership was always a thing he was driving us for. He was real passionate about like leadership in sports, leadership in kapahaka, and very forward with who he felt had the potential. So he would sort of just, shove us all up the front.
Yep.
Just go all in. So I think that's what I've taken from him is you can just like dive deep into things without even questioning anything.
Do you carry that still today?
Yeah, I think parts of me definitely towards others. If I see potential there you go.
What about yourself?
A little bit hesitant. I do have my own self-doubt, sort of mental blocks I create for myself. But once I can, talk myself out of it, very much like to jump in.
What did Matua Painga do that allowed you to feel safe to have a go at what he was promoting?
I think language, like just maybe positive affirmations, I guess. He would always offer or question, like, would anyone like a go? It could be simple things like, who would like to lead the waiata today? And then, if no one showed their hand, he would be like, really, Shay? Not you? And you'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, stand up, you got it, Just things like that. And also for boys, he had just this positive way of uplifting the boys to not come with, well, you know what it's like, that age. Boys.
Yeah, it is a difficult age.
Yeah. Sort of just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that, guys. But like, let's channel that energy into leadership, is trying to help steer them into a more positive path. Yeah.
So we go to Girls High.
Go to Girls High. This was straight after Girls High had a reputation of bullying, very high bullying. And so walking in there as a Year 9 student was really, really scary, actually. Not many people from Mairoa came to Girls High. they all went to the wharekura.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and
Or
Fraser.
Yeah.
So there was only a handful of us that went to Girls High. But I think I really found myself there once I was year 10 and found my Māori teacher, Whaia Holly, who was real inspirational to me. Just, I think what captured like me from her was that she was young. You know,
Yep.
she was, she obviously had done the high school and the studying and got straight into teaching. So she was a bit younger and came with more empathy and understanding towards us because, you know, the gap's not too big. So she would be down to our level more. And I think the same for Matua Painga. He wasn't an old teacher as well. So my experience with younger teachers and still today in ECE is very impacted by that. I do see young teachers from a real positive lens rather than, oh, you're just young, you know. But I think I speak that for myself because I did start in ECE when I was 21.
Yes.
So people assume that because you work with children, you have children, whereas at that time I did not. So to be an unders teacher and care for babies, people would, oh, how old are you? And I'd be like, oh, 21. And, oh, you're working with babies? Yeah, I am. You know, so I do have an appreciation for young teachers coming through, and that's where that stems from.
So what are the commonalities between those two key models there? What are the commonalities we talked about? You've spoken both about getting down to your level, age being an instance in terms of relatability. What else are the commonalities there? Māori?
Yeah.
Māori?
Yep.
Yep. Obviously teachers, that's an easy one. But
Yeah.
what are the real commonalities there? Because they, again, as a teacher, so Mr. Painga, did he have you 1 year or 2? Matua Painga.
I think he had us the 2 years.
Okay. But even that's a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Like that's not a long, you know, people like to think that is 8 terms. It's not a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it's effectively. So what is it there? Because it's right. Because now see, I'm building a bit of a pattern here for you. Because your ability to have impact in a very quick amount of time is quite prevalent, and we led off with that. Those people, I know 2 years sounds long to people, but it's actually not in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
2 years is a long time if you lose your life at 4. But if you lose your life at 80, if you leave this world at 80, it's a different story, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
2 years is actually a small. So what is it there? What's the commonality there that obviously resonates with how you act and practice?
Maybe it's the way that it seemed like they wanted to know us as individuals, you know, like wanted to capture us individually and how they could let us shine, but also like gathering the individuals and placing them together to shine together. Sorry, I'm going to cough. Is that
You're
okay?
right. But so what you're saying is it wasn't also just you as individuals, you were part of you as a collective as well. So that their impact was not just around manipulating a space that allowed you to exceed expectation, but also that you were added into a collective that allowed the collective to exceed.
Yeah, I think I would like describe like currently what I feel with Future Focus as that exact thing. Like very much we are trying to find what the individual is great at, and are there others carrying those same strengths, or where are we all sort of on our journey and paths, and how can we piece those puzzles together. Very much felt that with those 2 areas of schooling. And also, but not in like a really, what's the word, like not in a way that it was disempowering for others, but more so to figure out how we then can work together to bring everyone else up with us. I even remember like speeches at school, you know, like totally not my thing. But you know, we'd have students in our class who were really quiet across the room in a room setting. But when it came to speeches, whoa, amazing. But that was not my strong point. So when I watch them do their speech, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That inspires me to do, you know, dig deep in myself to do a little bit better or give a little bit more. So I think
So what is that though?
is it shared leadership? I don't know. Like
Because the execution you're discussing is that it's the rising tide. That the boats all rise at the same level, and you know that's how it works. You don't have a rising tide where one boat's down here and one boat's up here, right? It all rises at the same scenario, same situation, at the same timing. Sorry, but so that's what that sounds like to me. And I'm just thinking about your role with us, and probably centres before. I don't know. We'll ask that, but I certainly know with us, you carry enough time and reflection to aim to create the rising, you know, the rising ships, the rising tide type situation.
Yeah.
So it's quite prevalent because if you think of what Matua Painga and, sorry, who was the other?
Fire Holly.
Fire Holly.
Yeah.
What they were able to do was not allow you, well, they got you to excel based on your own interpretation of excelling,
Yep.
but not only as an individual but within a collective, which
Yeah.
is a very, very powerful skill.
Yes, and it definitely felt like that from year 10 onwards, and then you sort of form those friendships within your class, and then even that extends out, you know. So I think from year 10 onwards was a really great experience at Girls High, and just in my mind, being a young adult with a degree was really appealing to me out of high school. So I actually went to sign up with Waikato University to study Bachelor of Teaching ECE, and got to it and was like, no, not yet. Something about me knew it wasn't now. So headed into a different workforce, but found myself coming back because it was there, you know, that
What
calling.
was it? What was the no?
I think I wasn't in the right living environment. The support system around me probably wasn't the strongest at the time. And it wasn't until, I moved to Papamoa that support system just came, you know, like Rose was a part of that. And my old team at my previous centre, all were there encouraging me with words. So I didn't have that straight out of high school. So I knew that at that point it was now.
What happens though if that words of affirmation disappears?
I feel like I have gone through that, like as of recent years. It has been a matter of finding it for myself, being my own words of affirmations giver, you know. Finding that safe space in myself to be able to, you know, tell myself like I can do this, and then a matter of letting go of everything else and diving in, and then meeting the people who I did meet along the way. Yeah.
You've had to close off some pieces of your world potentially to be able to enable that though, right?
Absolutely. But there's no manual on that, you know. You don't get given a manual that says, hey, you're going to shut off some areas of life or people in your life that you thought you would have forever. So that was a really tough journey for me in terms of, I always have in the back of my mind, it takes a village to raise a child, and was really hard on myself that my village had changed.
Yeah.
I always interpreted it like it was going to be the same village throughout life. but now have learned that it's a forever changing village, and that's okay. So, yeah.
I think that's one thing, and when I'm lucky enough to talk with young kids or secondary school kids, and I just remind children that Māori, we are explorers.
Yes.
Like, we left our village, literally,
Absolutely, we did.
to go out, and we had to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Probably overpopulation, probably war, probably, not enough resources, a whole range of pieces. And we were like, you know what? We're out. We're off. We're leaving the village, and that's it. And I think I like to remind children about our explorer heritage because we had to be very curious.
Yes.
We had to back ourselves. We had to know something was out there for us.
Yes.
And if I say that to you today, because none of that's tangible, right? Curiosity, backing ourselves, what is that in a tangible, I can't touch that.
Yeah.
And knowing that something's out there for us,
Yeah.
that all those three intangible pieces are very scary, especially to young Māori.
Absolutely.
And that sounds like to me potentially what part of that hiding is for you, and that background is for you, is that like intangible. You had to cope with intangible pieces. You're like, oh, actually that feels uncomfortable, but I've got to hope something better's there.
Yeah. Absolutely. I find that especially journeying through motherhood.
Yep.
When you just know, or you have that feeling in you that there's a different way, or the way you want to mother or father or parent does not always have to be the same way you had it. And I think even that was scary to explore, because you don't want to sort of step on anyone's mana and say, you had it bad, but you always have that feeling you want to give a different way. And I think to justify that for yourself, that you are going to do it a different way, is the scary part, because you don't want to let anyone else down or hurt their feelings, but, it's like a calling to you almost.
And, I'm fascinated about this mindset for you as an individual and what this will mean for your future. Because we know it's not common. It's not a common mindset to be like really wrangling with intangible pieces, because it's scary and there's unknown and there's the high probability of failure, and now also being a mum and wife and all those parts, all that sort of stuff, all now starts to weigh in on you. But from what I've seen with and been able to experience with you in the last 6 months plus, you have leaned right into that.
Yeah. I think if I didn't have the support system I have today with Future Focus and our Terrace Views crew, I don't think I would be who I am today so fast. I think I would still very much be reaching out for her, but I think she's closer to me than I actually give myself praise for,
What? So just going to that praise piece. What is that? What is the praise when it does happen? What does that look and sound like?
I think at the moment, like, it can look and sound like just sitting down at home with my girls on the floor and being like, this is it, like they're happily playing. All they want is their mum and dad's, love, attention. And when we are down with them, we all just bounce off like real positive vibes, and we sit there and we think, yeah, this is it. It's not every day, not all the time, but in those moments it's very much like, yeah, we nailed it today, you know, and I think hubby and I have been able to build ourselves to a place where voicing out loud to each other those little successes has been challenging for us. We don't come from backgrounds where we hear positive words, so we know that for us that this is what we do need and what we do want for our girls to see and hear. So yeah, I think that's at the moment today is what praise sounds and feels like for us.
It's a powerful statement you make, because what you're discussing is being present.
Yes.
You cannot see those things, feel those things, hear those things if you aren't present.
Yes.
If you're always looking way to the future, those things quickly slip by.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And 3 daughters, and your role and all that, life can be busy, and people get sucked into the busyness, and to the point where I actually almost despise saying, I'm really busy, because I try to back it up by saying I'm busy by choice, because there's being really busy because you've got all the stuff you got to do, or actually I'm choosing to come and block out time to actually spend talking to, and I'm not talking about this, like I love walking in, and I always walk in and you're just sitting in the office, I'm like, oh cool, here we go.
Yeah.
Auntie was talking about it once where I think you guys were in the lunchroom.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And she just brought up this, the door just opened, not in a literal sense, but the door opened for the kōrero, right?
Yeah, she led like this amazing kōrero, and it was one of those like, wow, we were all meant to be here moments, because Suzanne happened to walk in, Ash was there, I feel like someone else was there as well, and yeah, we all just sort of gave little insights to what we were thinking, but it just matched the kaupapa that was being spoken about. It was really cool, and we all walked away going, yeah, thanks for that.
And I think there's plenty of opportunities in the day for that, for any interaction that you have with a person. I think where you and I, if we're talking about the correlation, I think you and I actively seek those situations out.
Yes. Yeah. Which I think, like me, not saying that I always view you like up here, because I feel like with Future Focus, it's a very, like equal feeling almost. So when you do seek out those conversations, I don't look to you and go, oh my gosh, my boss wants to talk to me. It's like a genuine connection that you've built with all of us. And I think we all sort of sit in that waka of, yeah, cool, I feel that safe space to talk to you, and we know that you genuinely want to hear what we have to give about whatever it is that you're talking.
I appreciate that, because as you know, I despise the word boss.
Yes, that's why
I despise it, because I grew up, and boss was always tied to something that seemed unattainable to me, and that's actually why. And I've never actually said that out loud. I've never said the reason I do not like the word boss is because the word boss was pushed into me that it is something, when I was growing up, someone white, mega wealthy.
Oh, yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It just seemed absolutely unattainable
Yeah.
to me, and I don't like to carry that word. And then, unfortunately, media around, Hollywood have built this word boss into villainous. I played video games growing up, The Last Boss, all that.
Yeah.
It was all tied. It never connotated anything that represented an ideology of positivity and growth and empathy and care, and that's why I despise it and work hard to eliminate that word. But that comes from those daily interactions. When I talk about seeking out conversations, and I'm sure you're like me, if there's a chance to talk to someone about their day, whether I know them or not, I take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Parents, your team members.
People at a coffee shop,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
people on the beach.
The checkout people,
Yep.
you know, and you just don't know who's waiting to just hear that. How's your day? Oh, someone's interested in me, you know?
Yeah.
How is it?
And I think that's where what you're discussing about me, I think, and I'm hoping you realise it, but that is what you do for your teams. And I think you've quickly built that, you know, especially in such a busy space,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Like your oversight is effectively the batch.
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah. You know, and you've built that with this team, and you've had that growth has been fairly rapid, and I just know that your people know. And I was lucky enough to be in that PGC with Armin, and his respect level for you is like mammoth.
Wow.
And I know that you guys have, you know, I don't want to say butted heads, but you certainly have a strong discourse,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Respectfully.
Yeah, absolutely respectfully.
It's
yeah.
not. There's no level of slander or anything. It's a respectful discourse. But I think you've facilitated a lot of that, and because I've had the discussions with you when you've been like,
I'm ready to pack my bags. Get me out of here.
But once you've got your bags packed, you've actually reflected yourself round and thought, yeah, no, I see that.
Yes, and I think like through having conversations with you and being able to just sort of unleash whatever bag I'm trying to pack has been so beneficial, because I think that maybe was an aspect I missed out on in my childhood. So I think I'm very much reaping the rewards now as an adult, to have that safe space to say how I'm feeling. But also going back to the word boss, like with the kai mahi roles now, sort of came, you know, a little bit of what you described, you know, and I think I have been fortunate enough to have a team that's come with respectful values straight off the bat, and we've built on those together. As you've described with Armin, I hold such a high respect level for him and the experience he brings with him. And I think the way our team is functioning at the moment very much is like it's like equal roles among us, you know, it's not.
So what could threaten that?
I think maybe little experience.
Because it's a very high functioning team, Terrace Views as a whole.
Yes.
Like our review, and Courtney and I and Auntie loved it because we just got to chat to people. We just literally, with no real agenda except celebrating success.
Yeah.
And I think that is an extremely powerful position to be in, when you're just in there like, right, we're here to celebrate more pieces. We're here to celebrate more pieces. We've got no negativity here. We're just really all about celebrating this. It was an extremely powerful scenario, and so what we did is we randomly just drew people. I just pulled the photos out of everyone.
Wow.
We just randomly drew people. So we had no way. So we basically said, right, what part are we talking about? We'll do this one, and then we just randomly drew. So we didn't randomly draw, then go, we'll match it to those people. We just said, right, we're going to pull that part, pull that part,
amazing.
and then we pulled the photos. We got Ash to pull the photos, and it was pretty evident to us that, and there were some pretty strong themes like communication, respect, connected. You know, like Amy said, I'm just trying to be the best teammate possible.
Yeah.
You know, like that theme of being a great teammate was really evident. And when we obviously break it down to the different rooms and we look at Ngāhi Raka space with your team, you know, hearing the level of conversation that was around, look, we really want to just make sure that people's ideas are coming through and being heard and being implemented and supported, and if things don't work, we just you know, bin and then start again. And there was all this, the ebb and flow energy was just phenomenal. And I think you must pat yourself on the back because that is a hallmark. Matua Paenga, Waiaholi, these hallmarks are now what you are impressioning on the teams in Te Resiwhis.
Yeah, very much. And like a lot of my learning has come from my previous centre where I started, like where Rosie started. They very much were, I feel like the people who raised me in my early adult years, you know, like they were very like mothering to me. I worked with my auntie who was like a big part of my childhood, and just learning lots from the older generation and who already had the experience and gaining lots from them. Yeah, but I think the thing that could break our team is shutting off the new ideas. Like the new ideas I feel do need to keep coming. There's like no one way of being a teacher. It's every day, every hour, so different. And I think at the moment we have that team of teachers who are so adaptable. And that's definitely what we need.
What next? What next for you? Because, you know, I know that's a question that we've asked, but I'm just interested to hear your thoughts. What next? What challenge do you need?
That's such a big question because I feel I hold myself back a lot from anything that's what next because I'm reserving myself for things, those things I don't even know what they are. But I think what next for me could look like I'm not going to say the word centre leader because I have a big block there. Ministry puts that block there for me. That I feel I need to have more understanding around that and why that sort of thing. But I do enjoy very much like the mentoring, the leadership, the leading. But I also know that I'm reserving myself for my family for the next few years in case we get gifted another one. So I don't think I have any major challenges planned other than that.
Does that fulfill you?
No. I know there's something else.
Yep.
But I think that's a conversation that I'd love to dive into in the near future to figure out what next. But at the moment, I'm very much reserving myself. Yeah.
Are you trying to store it? What is it you're reserving? Well, I don't explain that just a bit more.
I guess it's just that self-doubt of I know there's more to come for my little family, but if I inject myself into something so massive that's bigger than what I currently am, that I won't have enough hands or time or energy for anything further. That's what I mean by reserving myself.
The real challenge for any great organisation is to free up their people. I think I appreciate you sharing that. I don't agree, but I do appreciate you sharing it because any great organisation will unlock ways for people to continually extend. You know, like if I'm training for the Olympics, for the 100-metre race, it's literally one race in 4 years, right? But I don't train and then turn up to the Olympics and run one. You know, I do multiple races, right? I pick up multiple experiences. I go and train and run over in different countries, and you know, I get different training partners, and then I have to cope with injury. I have to figure out sponsorship, and there's a whole big to get to that actual race. And then and then you get to that race and then you're knocked out in the first round.
Yeah.
You know, that's the risk.
Yeah.
Right? That's the risk. And I want to get our people to that race to get knocked out or to win. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, like I just don't see the point in either this is my worst case scenario for me as an individual, I'm not talking about you, is watching the race every 4 years.
Yeah.
That to me is life wasted.
Yes.
That's completely life wasted. Then the second thing is I would hate to train and get injured once and give up.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so I've got a little bit of experiences, but I've pulled my hammy, I'm out. But I just want to. We are working, and the Leadership Council is working so hard on that. We're trying to break that centre leader word. I do not like that centre leader word.
I think it brings like a really big suitcase with it, you know?
I don't agree with it, if I'm being honest. I think it is traditional. It is, I like that. It carries a suitcase. And if I'm being honest, people put that as their Olympic 100-metre race. And then that's it.
Yeah.
You know, when I achieved the principalship, I was like, got there, and then 11 months in, I realised, oh my God, I hate this job.
Wow.
Now what?
Yeah.
I was like, what do I do now? I'm 27. You know, I was just like, what if I don't like this? Now what?
Why is it such a thing though that your age measures what you can and can't do? You know, like you just said, I'm 27. What am I going to do?
What it was is that it was like that was meant to be my career path. You know, that was my, and I was like, I've reached it at 26, and then I was like, and then I got there, and I was like, oh my God, I don't like this job, and I'm going to say it out loud.
Wow.
I'm going to say it out loud. I don't like this job, and I don't want to ever put people who are so great, people like yourself, into a position that they go and they're like, they've run their race and they're like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think people like you, and I'm talking probably directly to you, I think you, Shay, have a skill set that you've actually been, your tupuna have given you this skill set. You cope, right? Without delving into your child and all that, it's very evident that you carry lessons, heavy lessons.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it is very relevant in your practice because you are reflective. You don't execute then like a tyrant, move on.
Yeah.
You know, you actually execute in constant state of reflection. So why would we, as an organisation, lock that brilliance into a centre leader? That, to me, is not even allowing you to get to the 100-metre race.
Wow.
Because it's a very big race, education.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Ongoing.
Yeah, ongoing.
Yeah.
You got to keep racing. You've got to keep getting to the start line. We've got to keep getting people like you to the start line. That's the issue here.
Yeah.
We lock you into positions, and that's what's happened, unfortunately, with a lot of our amazing kaiako. They get locked into positions, and they take the foot off the brake.
Yeah. Yeah.
They stop getting into the starting blocks.
Yeah.
They stop finding those battles. And that is where I'm just determined for someone like yourself to just never put you in that position. Because it's an insult to you and your tupuna that have given you this skill.
I respect that. Yeah.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate the reservation. Like I said, I don't agree with it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I also think, you know, there are other ways that don't have to involve growing your professional life. That means you can grow you personally, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we always ask everyone this question, so we don't need to name names, but we do ask the question of a student, and it can be your own children too, but a child or a student that had a major impact on you?
Yeah, I can think of one. This was when I was working in the unders space at my previous centre. It was like not a trigger for me, but like seeing him join our centre as I think 8 or 9 month old baby, who to me just needed love. He just needed love, and I think that took me back, sort of like waves through my childhood of, what if all they needed was just a hug, And I know the living situation wasn't ideal. I won't go into details, but every day he came, long hours, 8 till 5, whatever. And he didn't really know what to do with himself, He didn't know what a hug was, didn't know what happy interactions were, just knew that he was going to have nappy changes and bottles when he was hungry. So to me, it was just like there's so much missing for him emotionally, which shaped me as an unders teacher at that time in my life, because I felt like I could be the one there to give love to the children when they needed it. They're here with us long hours of the day. They just need love while they're here, He was very much made to grow up fast. His family wanted him to grow up fast. So as soon as he was 8 months, it was like, right, boy, you're walking. Let's get you in that walker. You can walk, And that sort of shaped my mindset of children deserve to grow and develop in their own time. Like that to me was the moment I clicked, in their own time. And we weren't in the ECE space to teach him how to walk. We wanted him to know that he's safe here. He can have a cuddle with us when he needs. Feeling frustrated, that's fine. I'm still here for you. I'm your safe space. So, yeah, a lot of nurturing for him and me. I think that, stems a lot back to childhood of just needing that hug and that safe space. But it was definitely challenging, to not have my own children at that time, to pretty much be hands-on with him his whole time. He was with us during the day, getting him to sleep and, all of that stuff. Really shaped the nurturing side of me and allowing children to have space to have big emotions, but also I'm always here right next to you, or just a little bit further if you don't really want me that close. And I think that's a memory I hold because it impacted our team as well, in the sense of we then all realised a lot of the children just needed comfort and just needed hugs. It was a time where even our team were working through what does respectful practice look like in an under space. And I think the moment he arrived with us very much kick-started that. Like, what are we doing when children just need hugs, or their parents are dropping off and just saying, he can stay here today, Cool. Still welcoming you with open arms. We've got this, go take a breather, have a good day. And I think I learnt that not every whānau are open to discussing further. They are here for those quick drop-offs. But eventually, little part of you is like, I'm going to crack this whānau and I'm going to find out what's the bigger picture. Yep. So that was a driver for me to up my, professional conversations with whānau. But still at that point, I wasn't training yet. So it was a very rapid
it's quite
growth.
A stark lesson.
Yeah. So that's still with me today. even with working with 3 to 5 year olds, I still believe in their own time, giving them space, but also just because they're 3, 4 or 5 doesn't mean they don't just want to cuddle, you know?
I don't believe we lose that.
Yeah.
I believe society shuns that.
Oh, absolutely. Like this independence, my child should be independent. It's such a big umbrella to unpack. Like it's not.
I never want my children to not want to come and jump in bed with me.
Absolutely.
I never want them to ever lose a desire to come and be in my embrace and tell me they love me, and I'm going to fight to keep that until my time's done. That's an eternal fight for me.
Yes.
Because, like you, that was not readily available.
Yeah.
And that word, love, and come on, boy, you got to stand on your own 2 feet. All that stuff, you got to look after. Come on, like I have to fight that.
Yes. Yeah.
I have to fight that. And actually, I carried initially that mantra into my own teaching career, and I got a very rude awakening with that with children, because I that's not real.
Yeah.
I mean, developmentally, it's just not real. Like, we cannot train a child to stand.
No, but I was watching it during the settling visits, happening, and I thought, like, my heart does not agree with that. And that's when I turned to my, head teacher of the underspace and said, "Can that even be done? Like, can we do anything?" Just those, lessons you learn in ECE that teach you about yourself and your own values, but still very much have to remember that for my own children who I do work with, that they see me still in the workspace as mum. So reminding myself that even though you're 4 years old, you still can have a cuddle with mum throughout the day.
Yes.
And it really is a battle for me to stop. But something I'm constantly working on.
Yeah, we had to work with that with Frankie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got better when she went to school.
So there's hope.
Yeah. I used to resist it, and then at points I stopped resisting it because it wasn't good for her.
Yeah.
And I still, if I'm being honest, we're still suffering some of that. She does have a piece of anxiety that she just doesn't want to be away from us.
Yeah.
Like if I would pick her up from school early every day, she would just let me. Yesterday she actually grilled me for picking her up early. She actually said she was playing a game, but normally I would just pick her up early, and she just couldn't care less about school. She'd rather be around us. So,
see, and I think that's such a beautiful thing, because I, like, as much as school is a thing, for whatever reasons, like just being by your people sometimes is just such the best medicine, eh?
Oh, absolutely. And I think talking about being by our people, it's why I enjoy being around you. Oh. You're a big part of our people, and whatever goals we achieve in terms of supporting the sector, I know you're going to be a major part of it. So, Shay, thank you very much. It's I really do appreciate all that you do. You are an inspirational leader. Just as a person, as a friend, I do enjoy my time with you. I like to be present when you're talking. And if you've managed to have this major impact in not even a year, then I really do get excited thinking about what it looks like in the next 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Forgive my impatience around your being reserved. It's just I know that you will be a real force of your own. So thank you very much, Shay. I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you, Ray.